Yet I think it's really important to talk to you today about this new kind of overwhelm that's coming in that I'm seeing with myself, with my colleagues. There's several of us that are doing the same thing, as well as with some of my clients. So I like to pass these things along to you. So first and foremost, subscribe, because I'm trying to get my numbers up to 500. Then I can do posts on my Facebook. So please subscribe if this is interesting to you and you've been watching for a while. New kind of overwhelm. I think the thing to keep in mind is that right now, between the end of October and now, November 13th, we're experiencing sort of a physical overwhelm. There's this sinus cold that's passed around. It's been in the schools. It's been, starting with the children, going through family systems. And it's not COVID. It's not, it's not any of these new ones. It's just like a sinus thing here. Um, there's also what I'm experiencing in my calls is that there's a really difficulty in sleeping, a lack of sleep. We need more sleep. We're exhausted. We sleep 8 hours. We need 10, and we're having a hard time getting up. There's a loss in appetite. Things that you used to want to eat aren't really doing it for you anymore, right? And constant ear ringing, sort of presence of ringing in the ears. Okay. What's going on collectively is we just came out of an eclipse season. So I don't ever want to downplay that, because when eclipses come, they stir up the invisible in us. And, it doesn't matter whether you're metaphysical by belief systems or not. It's important to know that when something's sort of stirring in the bigger collective, that it is going to affect us, right? We just are in the process of doing tallying on an election in the United States that took place on Tuesday, and it's Sunday, and they're still putting numbers together, which I think is really interesting based on the fact that we're a progressive, technologically savvy, world leader, yet we can't figure out how to deal with these kind of instant elections, right? Um, on a global level, there's energetic frequency stuff that's just shifts that are new and different and kind of impacting us on a much higher level than I thought. We're also What I noticed is that old stories are coming up. Old family wounds, old pain bodies, to use Eckhart Tolle, old pain bodies are surfacing. Our wounds, our familial lineage is sort of coming up and purging out of us. And these repetitive patterns are coming up. Like the one I would use is that when I'm not feeling good or I'm bored, I do shopping therapy, but it's not really like about going to the store and buying anything. It's walking the stores and seeing get a pulse on the stocks on the shelf, the colors, the direction that the general public is going, because it informs me to come in and do this. And in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I don't even want to go out and do that. It's very interesting. And I had a girlfriend text me this morning and say, I wonder if we are energetically detoxing. And I was like, I think that's what this is. We are doing a lot of detoxing, because there's also this weird connection with Veterans Day. I'm noticing on the social media, there's a lot of pictures of, this was my dad, this was my grandfather, this was my mother in these uniforms. And it's our long Veterans Day weekend. And on the 11th, Friday was the 11th day of the 11th hour of the 11th year, was the armistice for World War I. So it's always been celebrated as a Veterans Day. And if we are pulling old family lineage, detoxing, and purging these familial patterns, it makes sense that as we come up on the role we played in wars in our nations, the significant losses and pains that came through family systems as a result of that this is something that's going to be coming up too. So this weekend seems to be intensely coming at us, right? I don't know what you're feeling. That's what I'm feeling. And I don't often, I'm sort of like the canary in the coal mines, because when I'm feeling something, it's like I start to get on the phone and they're like, yeah, 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 that's what's going on. So I know I'm putting my finger on something. I'm just not sure what it is yet. And I like to bring it to you and share it, ask you, what are you noticing? What are you feeling? Right? Internally, there's this confusion. There's this dull confusion, like, I don't know what to believe anymore. I don't know what to do. There's overwhelm. Overwhelm is when we have too many things, just too many things in our hands or inside of our body to hold on to, and we don't have any room or space to do anything else. We're also seeing a lot of indecisiveness, which is I'm not sure how to make decisions. I don't know what is important to me. Confusion, disconnection, probably went through that. And externally, there's a dullness. I had clients say there's just a dullness. The things that used to bring me joy don't bring me joy. And we're also seeing closures in relationships, in family members, in work, and in our interest areas. And I've already spoken to that. The good news is while all of this is happening, we're getting really big dreams. Our dream states are active and they're lucid and they're dynamic. We're having lucid dreams during the day. We're getting downloads. I'm noticing that the downloads that are coming in are I had a client ask me what actually is a download. It's sort of like when you're moving along, and you're doing something that is sort of has you focused but not focused, and something drops in like a clarity of an idea or a new perspective or something that you might want to consider and you're like, wow, where did that come from? I wasn't even thinking about that, and that's very succinct and very direct as to what I want to know. We're having shifts in our perspectives. Things that we were going towards, we're like, yep, nope, I'm going this way. And we're also getting a lot of wisdoms and insights. So our languages are changing. Our patience with other people are changing. Our internal sort of, who are we, what matters to us is changing. So what we're really being asked to do during this new kind of overwhelm that's happening is to pay attention and to care for ourselves. So sort of step back from the things that you've been doing that you don't want to do anymore, or that you used to do, or that you're expected to do, right? Expectations. Rest a lot more than you thought you needed to. I've been heading to bed about 9:30 and sleep until 7:30. It's just like, and I still want more sleep because I'm up half the night. Nurture yourself, take baths, do what you can to sort of nurture your body, to soften, to open, and to consciously connect with yourself. We're not just talking about being nice to yourself. We're sort of go inward and go, what are you noticing? What does this mean? What do I? How do I bring a meaning to all of this? Because part of that deep self care is being able to validate to yourself that you're in the middle of something big. That something is really actually going on and you're right smack in the middle of it, and it is not it's not easy, it's not supportive, it's not blissful to navigate, right? That you energetically your body is reacting to something that you can't see. It's invisible, yet it's physically showing up in people, places, and things. And I did a video on that a little bit mm, last week, 2 weeks ago. The little brain fog is hilarious. And to be as present and strong as you can, because the only one who's gonna be present for you is you, right? So be present and be strong and do this deep nurturing. So I have 5 tips for you, and, the first one is that it's time to slow down. It's time to cut that calendar back. Cancel some activities, cancel the trips, cancel the stressors right now, between now and the end of the year, because this isn't going to go away. This isn't kind of like, hey, this weekend was a little bumpy. It's like this weekend, and as we're going closer to mid to the end of December, it's just going to keep showing us that there's more there to process, right? So don't involve people in artificial holidays or stressors that are gonna mm, take up your time and force you into levels of pretending where you don't want to. Okay. So really slow down. That's number one. Number two, go inward and nurture yourself. You're the only one who can guide yourself through this, period. No one else, your spouse, your parents, your best friend, the people you follow on social media, they're gonna validate that something's going on, but they're not gonna be able to guide you through this. You're the only one who can do that. So, and then when you have insights about yourself, share them with the people who love you, with your partner, with your spouse, with your children, with your coworkers, with your friends, which is I'm noticing that I'm a lot more tired than I was before. I'm a little off. I feel overwhelmed, and I'm going to take some more time for myself. That means I'm not going to be doing some of the things that I usually do. Okay, so you share so that you don't just drop out of everything you're doing and disappear. Right? You actually talk about what you're going to do, and you share your experience. Number three, ask for support. Ask your partner, your spouse for help, for care, for love, for support. Hey, I need you to stop on the way home from what you're doing today and pick up some groceries because I'm going to do some cooking, but you're out. Could you go get the groceries? Right? You ask your people. And you inform them about what I need right now, which is, I'm not going to be doing wine this week out with my girlfriends because wine on top of sinuses, on top of overwhelm, doesn't help me feel better. It doesn't mean I don't love you. It doesn't mean that I don't want to spend time with you. It means that I need to stay home and take care of myself. Now, if you want to come over and we can have some tea or something so you navigate through it with what you need, with what you want to do, and pay attention to who responds and who doesn't, because the response is going to be as informative as you asking. Because those who are like, yeah, I'm out. I'm not taking care of you. I don't care about how you're feeling. That's really where we're at right now, is finding out where these artificial relationships or patterns are existing. Number four, this is I have videos on this. I will post the link to this video on from YouTube on it, which is practice your own internal yes and no's. Because you can't depend on the external to give you the answers. What you can do is you can either muscle test yes or no's, or you can use your body as a pendulum, which is what does yes feel like, what does no feel like, or you can actually get a pendulum and use a paper chart or something underneath you, which is when it goes this way, it's yes, and when it goes this way, it's no. Because what it does is being able to ask yourself, your higher self, your internal self, your field, what the hell's going on? I need some clarity on this, right? And is this me? No. Oh my goodness. If this isn't me, why am I feeling like this? Does this have something to do in the collective? Yes. Okay, now I'm getting somewhere. Okay. So watch for how you get support and information through your yeses and nos. So you ask very specific questions, and it's always in the directness of our questions that we get the direct answers that we want. And almost anything can be solved with a simple yes or no if we know what the question is, right? So we write these answers. We ask the question, we write down these answers, and we start to see a pattern like last week, or what I'm going to tell you, which I tell you every week now since before the eclipse, is that something's up. I know that it's bigger than me. I'm having a personal, internal, external effect of it. It's changing a lot of things, and I'm trusting that my body's guiding me through this. I'm trusting myself. So when you go into a yes or no, and you ask a question and it says no, you go, "Hey, thank you," because I was having a hard time with my indecisiveness deciding whether or not to do that. So an example would be, is it in my highest interest to go out for dinner tonight in a movie? And you check in and it's like, no. And you go, yeah, but I got a babysitter. I've been planning on this, blah, blah, blah. And it says no. You're like, okay, I'm staying in. You make the phone call, you change your plans. This is how we build internal and external trust in who we are, is with our yeses and nos. Number five, always be compassionate. Be compassionate because we're in the midst of a tremendous global energetic and frequency upgrade, shift, collective change, historical change, and what we're all doing the very best we can. All we can do is kind of pull inward, watch where we get overwhelmed, watch how we support ourselves, clear the decks, take some time, be compassionate to those who need more time, be compassionate to those who are not paying attention at all and they're just hitting roadblock after roadblock after roadblock, and it's hard. So be compassionate because, we are all doing the very best we can. And those of us who are paying attention are here to sort of say, this, what do you think? Is this might be going on? Are you experiencing that? Here's a tool you could use. So if you want more of that, you can always get a hold of me. The contact information is down in the description. Also, you can always buy me a cup of coffee. I've been doing these free for years now, and it'd be really nice to see if it has some meaning to you. Throw a cup of coffee or 5 or 6 cups of coffee at me because I'm a coffee girl, right? You can find me on denisestryden.com. Have a good week, and I will see you next week, next Sunday, with the next insight and perspective. Take care. Bye bye.